David Shaw here with another off-the-record story. If you want to learn more about Washington, D.C., come visit my site, offtherecordtours.com. Let's go. In this grave in Arlington National Cemetery lie one hero and one traitor. This is the story of the Chennault affair. The hero is General Lee Chennault. Born in Texas, Chennault is known as the leader of the Flying Tigers, a group of American pilots who fought the Japanese on behalf of the Republic of China Air Force at the beginning of World War II. The traitor is his wife, Anna. Anna was born Shansheng Mei in China in 1923. While working as a journalist, the 21-year-old Chen interviewed General Chennault, a man widely regarded as a hero in China who had protected the Chinese from Japanese bombing. After the war, she marries Chennault, who is 30 years her senior. Anna anticipated the horror and the chaos Mao Zedong's Communist Party would bring to her homeland, so she and her husband were natural supporters of Chiang Kai-shek, the general who led the nationalist forces against Mao in the Chinese Civil War. But Chiang lost the war, and the nationalists had to retreat to the island of Taiwan, where he established the Republic of China, which is still in existence today. When they returned to the States, the Chennaults were part of what was called the China Lobby, a group of Americans who tried to fix the blame on losing China on the Democrats. But no American lost China. Chiang, with his immense military incompetence, coupled with his wife's monumental corruption, Chiang never had a chance. After her husband dies, Anna becomes a fixture in Republican politics. Chennault is a strong supporter of America's war in Vietnam. Her perception of the war was colored by her belief that the U.S. had abandoned Chiang Kai-shek to the communists in China. She felt the U.S. had a moral obligation to stand by South Vietnam, and that any effort to withdraw from Vietnam would be equivalent to the betrayal of Chiang. She gets involved in politics in 1960 when she campaigns for Richard Nixon. Nixon needs her help again in 1968 when he finds himself in a bind after President Johnson drops this bomb.
I shall not seek, and I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president.
LBJ says he will dedicate the rest of his presidency to ending the war in Vietnam. But to Nixon, peace breaking out would be the worst possible thing that could happen. Peace could increase the chances of LBJ's Vice President Hubert Humphrey being elected. Nixon dispatches Chennault to South Vietnam. She tells the South Vietnamese to boycott the peace talks. She says that if Nixon wins, they'll get a better deal. Let us imagine for a moment that LBJ could have ended the war in 1968. If that had happened, 21,000 Americans and countless Vietnamese would have lived. Richard Nixon was willing to let all these people go to their deaths for him to become president. And Anna Chennault was his eager accomplice. When LBJ learned of this, he called it treason. He never made the information public because he'd have to admit that he used government agencies to spy on Chennault and the South Vietnamese. When he confronts Nixon about this, Nixon denies it. In many respects, this was a preview of the dirty tricks Nixon would employ as president, and that would cost him that office. Anna dies in 2018, and I wonder if she ever considered that she was going to be buried in the same cemetery as so many young men who died in Vietnam because of her treachery in extending the length of that war. Well, I hope you enjoyed that off-the-record story. If you want to learn more about Washington, D.C., things seen and unseen, arrange your tour of your nation's capital at offtherecordtours.com. Until then, I'm David Shaw.